Well, good morning and welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. It is great to see you all. Carol, you are logging on from Northford, not very far away at all. Melissa, great to see you. Good morning. Enjoying a beautiful day on your front porch rug hooking. Oh, that sounds like heaven right now. Glad to be there. Oh, I'm glad that you're there. Hope things are settling in a bit. Still not doing so well, I have to admit. I feel that this behind me is a bit more robust. We were just having an epic fight about cameras and where things should go because, yeah, it's still, let me just even us out here. My OCD is saying don't. You know, one of my things this morning with setting up the camera is I really love this little girl right here, that little witch with the pink hair. It was very hard getting her on film. You know what's not on film? I'm going to have to move the camera again. My buttons. Oh, we'll deal with that. We'll deal with that in just a minute. First, I will let you enjoy the fall vignette. It is beautiful fall weather here. Although I do have to say, hey, Indian summer, what are you doing? Are you going to, which direction are you going in? Because I'm standing here in my daughter Jocelyn's like um, short shorts, right? Because I like packed all mine up and I'm hot. And then at night I am so cold, which I guess is ideal. It's just, I just want to put some clothes away. I just want to streamline something. Want to know where we're headed with all of this. We'll see. Karen, great to see you. Good morning from sunny and cool Black Forest, Colorado. It feels like autumn. Nice, right? It feels like autumn here too. April, great to see you in Illinois. Welcome back. Happy Monday. Kirsten, happy Monday in Vermont. Great to see you too. I'm going to come to you here. You reject that wind up call. See, I don't think today you're going to see the buttons. The buttons are you have to ignore the mail because the rug isn't set up yet. Did you see the I think it was the last issue or the issue before Magpie Times where I sewed a whole bunch of buttons onto this otherwise quite plain shirt, and I'm very happy with the way that it feels. It's funny how just these plastic buttons, they're a bit jingly and they feel good. They feel heavy. They sit well. It's a good thing to do with a top that is really boring or a sweater that's really boring. I'm pretty sure we all have buttons. Am I right about that? Pretty sure we all have buttons, just like wool and supplies. Pretty sure you have some, right? You're not on a supply drought, are you? Because we are known to be hoarders, aren't we? But it's fun to use the buttons this way because it really jazzes it up, and I feel like I'm halfway to like a Anita Shreve book with like the weight of the buttons, right? It feels good. It calms me down somehow. It's like a weighted blanket, but it's on my throat, right? It's on my bosom. Alrighty, I'm having a crazy time, as you can imagine. All of this packing, unpacking stuff is really, I think, flipped my brain. Joyce, great to see you. Good morning, Catherine. Good morning. Great to see you. And Linda, happy new week. That's it with ribbon candy hooking. Yeah, and we are on schedule now, so I feel good about this. This part works. We know that for sure. I feel like one of my problems. I mean, obviously there's loads, but I feel like I need to be up on a podium a bit higher. So in the event of buttons, if it's a buttons day, you get both the fall vignette and the buttons. Got to figure out how to do that. There's possibilities. I just haven't quite figured things out yet. Sharon, great to see you in Vancouver, Canada. Have to say your mind was blown by my video on using Excel to print your image. Okay, I'm so glad. Because that's a video that I haven't done because I thought I am not the person to tell you how to do anything on the computer. I am not that person. But when I spoke at the Nutmeg Guild this weekend, I showed them I wonder if I have it here. The crow. Here, let me see if it's over here. I showed them the crow and I said, okay, so this crow is the free pattern that's at, I don't know if I put it on Ribbon Candy Hooking or if I just put it in the link to this video. I'll put it up in Ribbon Candy Hooking. I was thinking, should I let Rug Hooking Magazine show it first? But then I thought, I better just get it out there or people are not going to, if you want to work on it now, you're not going to have time. And if you're going to do a variation, like I'm going to do a variation as well, I want to be sure that I have the time. So I was showing Midnight Dreary, and I showed this on Friday night at cocktail time. I was showing this to the Nutmeg group in Meriden, Connecticut on Saturday when I went to talk about ribbon candy hooking and Tigger and the Halloween party that's coming up in Lenox, right? And if you're new, check that out. Let me show you the flyer. I think there's still some login space. I'm going to have to do a head count, because a bunch of people signed up this weekend, the Halloween Howl in Lenox, Massachusetts, which is the Berkshires, beautiful part of the country, my personal favorite area for fall foliage, and just a lot of cute villages in a row, very close to each other. It's like a necklace of charm. It is so beautiful in this season. So we're having the hook in there, having a rug show. I'm putting together like some games that we can do, like rug hooking. Remember how we used to play bingo and stuff like that? Putting together games and things like that to do too. And I will be going live, just to reiterate, I will be going live for Rug Hooking Magazine. And the dates, Rug Hooking will put out, the date is the 24th, Friday the 24th of October. But the time, I forget what I said, I think it was like 12 to 1 or something like that. Might overshoot it. And realistically, I probably will overshoot it. But they are putting out this ribbon candy hooking pattern. And I'm going to start working on it too. For me, this is quite big for a primitive. It doesn't need to be this big, but I know that I want to use, hang on, I want to use stuff like this that I haven't used before, that I got, I don't even know what you would call this. Okay, I got this from an Etsy seller, and, okay, chameleon fiber, right, it's on the bag, and this is called Chaotic Silk. So, I've used a little bit of this before with something for the Haunted Rug book. I'll show you a peek of the colors. I got like a mix. But for example, when you take the color out, right, I have a bunch of different colors in here. They're distinct, right? They're all distinct. But for example, here's this blue one that looks kind of like this. It's a little bit dark on camera, I'm sure. But, you know, it's called Chaotic Silk. And is it raggy and messy to hook with? It definitely is. If you are a tidy hooker and you're a very technical hooker, you might not enjoy hooking with this stuff, but I am neither of those things. It feels like a semi-brittle cobweb, actual cobweb of fiber. And as I'm going, I literally just pull pieces off and hook in, and it'd be something like this. And if you're thinking, does that look good on the back? No, it does not look good on the back. It looks like a hot mess on the back. But on the front, you end up with a surface area that is very highly textured, a lot of rich colors, truly chaotic. So I like this stuff, and I've had this bag for a while of Chaotic Silk. I might actually look for more because I thought I would hook a lot of the background in it. I also got, weirdly, because I never do this, but I got this light colored one too, right? It really looks like a spider's web. And it is, I can't emphasize enough, it's very hard to hook with. Right, and if you are a tidy, neat freak kind of a person, I honestly can't see you enjoying this. But if you are like, hey, if it goes through the backing, it's for me, then this might be for you. So it does give a cool effect. It's shreddy. It's not consistent. If you have dry skin, right? I always put the moisturizer, the special like not greasy moisturizer on my hands first, because it catches on everything. I'm never letting this near the soles of my feet, right? I'd never get it back off. It catches on any kind of dry skin. But I want to use that to do Midnight Dreary. So when I showed this pattern at the Nutmeg Guild on Saturday, one of the questions that came up was like, okay, so you're sending it to us on the email, right? So let me use language the way that I use at home because I'm an idiot with the computer. Okay, so it's on the computer, right? And my husband always says, what do you mean? Is it like, was it sent to you on the phone? Did you save it to the computer? Are you talking about the internet or the computer? Sometimes I don't know the answers to these basic questions. But basically, it's a PDF. I sent it to an email. It's on your computer or it's on your phone. And you're like, how do I get it on the fabric, right? So I did a video about that yesterday. For people who don't have the time, the mental capacity, or the desire to, for example, run out to Staples and stand in line and have them do it for you. I did what I thought was maybe a too basic video on using Excel, which really is the only paint in Excel, but Excel is easier, to just cut and paste something, and then you tell your printer how big you want it, right? You tell the computer, Excel, how big it is, and then it prints that big, and it spits out a series of pages, right? This is 4 pages, and they come out of the printer, and I cut the borders off, right? And then I just tape them together. So that's what the video is about in more detail. How to get it out of your printer, without leaving the house, and have it be the right size, ready to go. So no scaling, right? Just comes out right and you tape it together. But then you've got this. And for some people who are beginners or who have always bought patterns, it becomes like, ooh, am I supposed to put it on a projector? Or what am I supposed to do? Do I have to start watching videos about transfer methods? And for a pattern this simple, I did a different pattern in it. I did, I'll show you the pattern in a second. But for a pattern with simple lines, now I'm not talking about like the bal de shawl tapestry, right? I'm not talking about something with a million lines that's extremely fiddly and complicated. But if you have something simple like this, you just put it over on your window and you, for light coming through, tape up a piece of your backing fabric in front of it. And in the video I showed monk's cloth, rug warp, and 2 kinds of linen, and they all worked. Put up your thing and then put up your backing fabric and then you just trace it as if your screen door is a light box. And you know what? It is a light box. The screen door is absolutely, on a sunny day, it's a light box. So thank you for watching that. I thought it was a helpful video. I've done a couple of videos lately. The one on using the potting bench for doing dyeing, 2 or 3 burners fitting on that for people who are like, I'd like to do a little dyeing or I'd like to over dye something. I don't really want to do it in the kitchen. This has been a great solution for me. So I did a video on that earlier this week too. So I'm trying to do videos as I settle in from the move and I settle into my new place, trying to do videos of things that I'm struggling with, logistical problems, right? Mental problems and logistical problems. So yeah, I'm trying to figure it out as I go along. And as I figure things out, when I have these, in my mind, great aha moments, they're probably not great at all. I think to myself, okay, I should record a video because there's probably people out there who are having the same stupid struggle, right? All of my struggles are stupid. So yeah, I think that was a good video and hopefully it helps some people. Let me come back over here. Thank you so much. Yeah, fun and easy. And then you feel so validated for buying those jars of buttons at the antique store. I know you. I know you. I have so many. Rita, great to see you. Good morning. How are you feeling? How are you post-surgery? And Kaz, good morning. Great to see you. Beautiful day in Wisconsin. I'm dying to come back. Wondering if there's like a snippet of time that I can sneak back out that way. I know I'm going to go to Wisconsin next year for sure because it's the Liz Alpert Faye is bringing her Ordinary Extraordinary Women exhibit out there, and I've definitely got to be there for that. Spam risk. And let's see, Judy, great to see you. Good morning. You're celebrating the fact that your stuck green screen issue. I know it. I thought that today too because I initially had a green t-shirt on and I thought it's one of those things that you love it but you hate it. It just went away. Like I was fooling around with buttons and it just went away. It's like a noise on the car, ka-thunk, 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 and then all of a sudden it goes away and you think whatever, or like a pain in a tooth. It's like, oh God, what's going to happen next? And then it goes away and you're like, I'm very happy that it went away, but I'm also scared like that it's going to come back. But yeah, no, I am so happy about the green screen because yeah, now we can enjoy guys like this, right? This little guy who's neon green. Judy, thank you for noticing. I love it. Leah, great to see you. I love the photos you've been posting. The photos with your sister were so beautiful. Looks like you two are so close. Good afternoon, popping in on your lunch break. Great to see you. Sharon says, how can anyone not love silk? Totally true, so true. But it does catch on your hands. And, that's one of the things that can give you heebie-jeebies. For me, I'm totally okay with it catching on my fingers, my dry fingers, and I'm okay with that. Whereas I'm not okay with a fork touching a pan, or a casserole dish. But different people with different things. If you're one of these people who you're thinking, ooh, if it keeps catching on my skin, that gives me the heebie-jeebies. Chaotic silk is not for you. But otherwise, I am seeing it pop up at fiber festivals as well. I have seen chaotic silk at fiber festivals. So I don't know if it's always called chaotic silk. It might be called something else, like cuckoo silk or nutty nut skin silk or something more official. But it's showing up all over the place, so it's worth knowing what it is at least. Kaz, your t-shirt looks very nice. Yeah, it drapes nice because of the weight of those buttons. Thank you. So, you know what, before I forget, fiber festivals. if you have fiber festivals coming up in your area, wherever you are, please let us know. And if you are on Facebook, please put them on Rug Hooking and Punch Needle Club so we can all see. It is hard to keep track of fiber festivals and festivals in general. This is my phone camera at the moment. It's like a shooting gallery. All of these days taken out of it. But I do have on there this coming weekend, 20 and 21, is the Adirondack Wool Festival. So that's a fiber festival. So I'm going to make my way there, I think, on Sunday the 21st. Um, there's another one coming up. Rhinebeck, which is in New York also, but near the Berkshire side, is coming up on the weekend of October 18 and 19. So if you have other ones, I would love that are anywhere near me. I would love to put them on my schedule, or I would at least love to talk about them, because while there are not a lot of rug hooking stores around for us, there are a lot of wool and fiber stores, yarn stores, fiber festivals. And at those fiber festivals, you are way more likely to encounter rug hooking stalls. I mean, you almost always do at least a couple. And wool applique stuff, so wool that you could use to cut into strips, to hook with wool strips. And obviously lots of yarn, roving, bat, chaotic silk, all of these things that you can pull loops up with. So be thinking about that as a possibility. Another interesting thing happened while I was out this weekend, because I had to drop Jocelyn and her father off at like the convention with video games, right? So I wasn't going to go because I didn't need to go, and everybody buys a ticket, and Teddy did not want to go. It's a bit too much for him, he decided. So I dropped them off, and then I was at a loose end because I didn't realize how far it was. And I thought, if I drive there and drive back, I'm going to be driving almost 4 hours today, and I don't want to spend the day that way. So instead, I dropped them off, and I thought, please let the pain end soon, while I, have so much to do at home, and I'm kind of stuck like outside Hartford. And I went to this antique store, and you know how I was saying with this potting table, it's great to have that surface, and it will fit 3 individual burners or a double safely, but there's not a lot of room. There's not a lot of extra room. Well, I went to this antique store, and I hope you can see this photo. I found this beautiful table there, and it basically has like an old wooden pedestal base, and the top of it is metal. And not only is it metal, but can you see how the corners are dulled? They're angled, because sharp corners, metal tables and sharp corners, not for me. I don't need like an open wound, right? I got enough problems. So it has like these sort of rounded off corners, and I thought, oh yeah, it's just a beautiful thing. And it was like, I know it, right? It was 145. So I thought, because I thought I can add this to my dyeing situation in the studio, and I can easily put 4 more burners on that, but then lay out all my spoons, lay out all my little measuring spoons and my stirring spoons. I could even bring squirt bottles and like paper towels for testers, and all of my everything, right? Everything I could lay out on a table this size. And I thought, oh, 145, I don't know. We've been spending so much. So I said to the woman who was working there, because she wasn't like the boss, I said, can you ask the boss? I love talking to the oil rag, but could you ask the engineer a question for me? Could you ask the big boss if he could do any better on the price? And he went from 145 in like one conversation to 100. So I was like, done. And I wasn't able to pick it up because I needed no other people in the car to fit it. But I measured, and it's going to fit, and it's going to work great. And it just made me think of the possibility for you, if you're trying to do this and you want more surface space for dyeing, and if you're doing 1 or 2 burners, then the potting bench is going to do it great for you. But if you're looking to do bigger things, or you want to put out the big basins like the hip bath size enamel pans, if you're looking to do that, you're going to need more surface area. I would never put that here because it would fall off and the boiling water would get me. It is worth looking for metal top tables, because apparently they exist vintage in places like this. I think 100 is the right price for that kind of a table with a beautiful wood base. But at the same time, it does make me wonder whether you could get, for example, thin gauge copper or a different metal and wrap it around an existing table. You have to be very careful about how you secured it under. I don't know how that works, but I can't see why it wouldn't work, because people can buy copper to cover like the roof of a birdhouse, right? And then you're just cutting it with a, oh man, when I think about a pair of scissors cutting copper, see, That's a heebie-jeebie one for me. You can cut it with a pair of scissors, but it comes in different gauges from, I have to stop thinking about it, from very, very thick to so thin that I've done origami with it, right? So I'm also thinking about those possibilities. If you're like, well, I have a lot of those folding tables or card tables. Be careful with the legs on card tables, though, if you're putting containers of boiling water on top, right? Think about how much do I trust this card table? But if you have existing tables and you're thinking they're not really pulling their weight in terms of like surface, right? I don't use it enough. Maybe think about covering it and putting some burners on that. That would work too. Interesting. Amazing what works. You know what doesn't work? Starting a project last night. This was the one that I did in the video. It's called VW Witch. And it's of a witch riding like a Scooby-Doo type VW van. And I thought, yeah, psychedelic. I want it to be a night scene, but because the van is really going to pop with like turquoise and orange and stuff like that. But guess what? I used my super expensive, beloved mohair hedgehog mohair yarn. So super, super, super thin because it is so gorgeous. I'm going to show you how gorgeous it is. Here, look. Pull it off the winder. Ooh. I'm sure the monitor isn't doing it justice, but it's got these crazy high saturation purples, light blue, cobalt blue, turquoise going to rust, right? I mean, look at this thing. It is like a symphony of gorgeous night colors. And doesn't that make you want to hook with all of these great colors? Well, when you do hook with it, you know, because I was cutting and then folding it like 8 times, so 8 ply, and hooking with it. It hooks great, hooks fast, but look how it looks. And I know this is a monitor and everything, but it looks like it's, you know, black. So I hooked a lot of it and then I pulled it out because I'll show you close up. You know, I love hooking variegated everything because it's got so many colors in it. But in this case, this yarn was, I think, $45 for the skein. I know I'm not quite in focus, but I didn't feel like this is the part I'm talking about. I didn't feel like the colors were reflecting how pretty these colors are. And I think it's just, they're like canceling each other out. And I should have known, this is what I pulled off. I should have known because like when you look at it like this, not so much this because it's still light and fluffy, but when you look at the little ball I rolled, it is very dark. So that should have been a great clue for me that it would hook really dark because it's really dense. So what I'm doing is, well, I'm pulling it all out and I'm cutting it into pieces. I mean, this is crazy to spend my time this way, like this long with the scissors and saying, I've got this much of the rust color. I'm going to start making a pile of the pink color. I've got some blues. I know this is crazy, but I think I have to do this. Just cut very small piles. I'll probably just take my scissors and go in here and cut this and break it into the blues. And then I'm going to probably come over here and cut this and break it into the rusts and orange, right? And purple. And is that crazy? Because I'm only getting 3 or 4 loops. It is crazy, but it's going to work better. And if I'm going to do it, I might as well do it because I started here. And again, it's hard to get this to focus while my face is unfocused. But the rust is coming out brighter. Over here, I started with just purple. And I'm going to try to create a situation with the clouds. You know, not that the sky will be a different color, but this, it's actually the tree line. I'm going to try to create a situation where it's painstaking as hell, but I'm going to have to cut small pieces, hook a few loops at a time to get like little patches of color that look like these patches of color because I want it to look just like this. So, yeah, exactly. Cass says, beautiful yarn. I wonder the values are also close. They are. That's another, and that part I think is okay because it will be like nighttime. But I do want to see this turquoise, and I do want to see this purple, and I do want to see this orange and this rust. I want to see all of them. And when they're all mixed together, it is pretty. And when you look at it close up, it's like, oh, that's pretty. But you really, it doesn't read the same way as that. And that will always be the case with the variegated yarns, the color changing yarns. That will always be the case. And I know that already. But for some reason, I had such high expectations. I've been saving this for years because I wanted the perfect thing to do with this skein, and it cost a lot, and I've been saving it for the perfect thing. And in my head, I pictured it coming out just like this. And it doesn't. It comes out just like this, but even more, right? And then it's like, yes, all the colors are present, but no, they're not being showcased in the same way. So it is always upsetting to spend a couple of hours, it was my Jocelyn Pokemon time, to spend a couple of hours hooking and then to have to take it all out. But at the same time, it does feel good to make a decision that you feel is a good decision and to make a plan to get a better result, right? If you can think of a plan and you think like, okay, it's possible to put it in place, maybe I'll cry myself to sleep a little bit, but tomorrow at least I have a plan. It's better. It's better than to keep going really stubbornly, knowing that you're disappointed with the way it's coming out. And yes, you should give it a hot minute always, but in the case of this yarn, it's pretty obvious pretty quickly that it was just coming out just too dark, just not enough variety, and not what I had envisioned, you know. I mean, I was so disappointed and crazed that I started thinking maybe I should knit, like as if I'm going to start knitting with this yarn. So I will figure it out, and I'll show you how it comes out. But it is, this is a message about like, yeah, you do have to look as you go, and you have to pay attention, and you have to listen to like the inner voice inside of your head or your heart or wherever the voice is coming from. Doesn't really matter. That's saying this is not working out, right? It goes the same for everything in life. This is not working out. So sometimes you can ignore the voice for an indefinite amount of time, in some cases forever. But with things like crafts, it's good to listen to the voice and go, oh, where is that voice coming from? Let me try to get like a baseline on why I'm upset and why this is disappointing, instead of just getting in a bad mood, right? Interesting. Leah said 100% would do the same thing. Yeah, sooner is better, right? So to be continued on that piece of nonsense. And in the meantime, I cut some stuff out of the, oh shoot, I wanted to show you. Oh, I cut something else. I didn't cut. I wanted to put in Tara's Halloween stuff that she sent. I wanted to show you that too. Let me see if I can pull that up. Because there was a couple of things I missed putting into the gallery show. The gallery show ran a full 3 hours, which is great. It is great. In my mind, I have to kind of calibrate and say, okay, do we need more gallery shows? Or am I just logging on and going, okay, let's start? Because it is a long time, I know, for all of us. Let me see if I can find Tara's thing that she sent me. She sent a beautiful thing in for gallery night, and somehow I missed it, or I overwrote it or something with this program. I'm not great at it. Okay, let me show you what she said, because Tara in Canada sent a couple of pieces that she is working on for October projects. And I love these pieces. Let me do a quick download, view image. There we go. Let me make it big for you. There we go. All right, let me see if I can show you this way. There we go. So she has drawn them directly onto burlap, her witch and her skeleton with Boo. And all I have to say to that is, what a fantastic thing when you just take some pieces of material that you have available and you trust yourself and you just start drawing your seasonal designs. And she's like, here they are. These are the 2 I'm working on for Halloween. I'm super excited. These are them. You know, you'll see them soon. Here's what I'm doing. And I just think that that's such a great mindset, because it does take confidence to work like that. But it's not, you know, I'm always waiting for something, right? I'm always waiting for a sign or for some supplies to show up in the mail or for inspiration to come from somewhere. There is so much to be said for someone who can just sit down and say, hey, it feels like fall, let's get going. And to just draw some things like, I think I could use another witch in my life. I think I could use another skeleton. And to just get going with drawing them. There is a lot to be said for that. Imagine if you could be like that all the time. At the time you would save and how much you would get done, right? Because I can't relate to that at all, but I want to be more like that. Those are a couple of beautiful pieces. So I missed that on gallery night on Friday, and if you didn't catch that show, make sure that it's there for you to tune in later. Again, this is Midnight Dreary, so I put the link to it, which I think is in Ribbon Candy Hooking. I just haven't publicized it. It is in the link for the Friday show, so you'll see it in the description of the Friday show. You can just click on the link and download it. If you need help, the video is there for you now. Download it, check it out, get started on it, and then when it comes time for the Howl, whether you're with me or not in the Berkshires in Massachusetts on October 24th, you can be there live and visit with the different hookers who are there and see their version of Midnight Dreary or whatever project they're working on. Also see the vendors, visit with the vendors, and visit the display of the rugs that will be up there. I'm bringing a bunch of rugs from the Mystic Carpet, stuff that I'm working on, and a lot of people are bringing their fall or Halloween rug to exhibit. So I'll be walking you through that in great detail as well. In the meantime, Karen, you sent us some beautiful photos for Friday, and let me pull up your message. You went to the Botanical Gardens in Denver, Colorado, right? And you found this exhibit that is absolutely mind-blowing in its scope, in its variety, and in its talent, the talent that's represented. Let me pull this up because, hold on, Karen, hold on, let's see. Karen, you said also that these pieces are in, Karen, is it the current issue of Fiber Art Now? It's the issue, this issue with this cover covers this exhibit that is now at the Denver Botanical Gardens, or at least it was this past week. So let's look at some of the art that came out of this. It's not going to be all hooking, right? It's going to be fiber in general. But there are so many ways to cross over to your hooking. And there are so many. I think we're just now getting into our stride with how many techniques are there? It's infinite, right? You can't ask yourself how many. It's infinite. There, let's say, just as a placeholder, right now there's 1 million. Well, next week there might be 1 billion, and after that there might be a Brazilian, right? And if you're coming up or evolving something on your own right now, you can, then it's going to be a Brazilian in one. It just keeps going, doesn't it? So it's fun to look at sister crafts and other fiber arts because it gives us ideas for other things that we might be interested in, like as a side hobby, but it also gives us ideas for things that we can do with our own rug hooking and what could cross over. This piece, now hang on, I think I might need to change my glasses. Hold on one sec. See if I have anything stronger. Let me check these, maybe. Let me do my best here. I think I'm ready to go to the next. I think I'm ready for number 3.5 at this point. This is ridiculous. So this piece is called Terranus, like Terrenus, by Joel Allen of Steamboat. I'll enlarge it for you in a sec. Steamboat Springs, Colorado. This was made in 2022. This is made of yarn, wire, colored plexiglass, precision hand-wrapped fiber, sculpted layer over layer. Okay, so this is a sculpture, and this is 60 inches by 14 by 14. And the text in the Fiber Arts magazine says, combining the elements of process and repetitive motion, time finds a record within the materials. The internal dialogue is expressed externally, stacking layer upon textured layer for further consideration. With impassioned patience, I search for that intimate space between time and material, where the rhythm of thought and dexterity intertwines in a lyrical dance. I relish the unending search for perfection, always reaching for the elusive harmonic concert of form, subject matter, and the content that binds the senses and the mind and the heart. So it goes on a little bit beyond that, but you can see that in this Fiber Arts magazine, the respective artists, I'm going to make this bigger, are talking about their piece, what fibers they use. You can see this part here is wrapped. Let's make it even bigger. So this functions as a sculpture or a mobile, right? Very unusual. I think that's the plexiglass right there, the green. very mid-century modern shapes here. This is kind of like an elongated spindle, or the ornaments. Remember the ornaments that are this exact shape, like Christmas ornaments? And then layer upon layer here, he's wrapping and winding yarn. So I would presume that the first layers are underneath, and he's wrapping, attaching, and then wrapping more, and it gives it that height, almost like a skirt or a peacock's tail. Very, very unusual. And one of the beautiful things I think about this piece is that the shadow it casts is really interesting to look at too, right? Just something different. All right, let's see. Sorry, emails popping up as I go. This one is very different too. I really like this. Let's check this one out. Hold on while I find the text that goes with it. And let's see. There we go. Oh, yep, there we go. Okay, so this piece is called Gaia's Crown by Lanny Bergner of Anacortes or Anacortes, Washington. This was made in 2024. It is stainless. I'll show you a close-up too. It is stainless steel mesh, glass frit, I don't know that word, silicone, green-coated copper wire, brass wire, stainless steel wire. So the fiber in this piece is the mesh. Let me stretch this one out for you. I think the image in the magazine is a slightly different color. Let me show you the same image from the magazine, because Karen was good enough to send me both. You see how the background looks like fiber? That's the copper mesh. That's not the copper I was talking about earlier, like copper sheeting. It's not that. It's mesh. And you can get this stuff in different colors. Doesn't have to be copper. Of course you can if you're thinking, can I hook into it? Not at the smallest gauge. At a higher gauge, you could hook into it, but you're going to have the problem of securing it while you hook in it. But yeah, you can hook into metal mesh, because you can hook into many fire screens for in front of the fireplace. As long as the openings are large enough, they're inflexible. So you will need a fine hook, and it's difficult and it's frustrating. But for example, if you find an antique metal mesh fire screen at an antique store, and you think the holes are big enough to pull a fine hook through, and you get it, you don't have to cover it, right? You could just hook the year, or hook something in the center, like a circle with, I don't know, something in the center that you want. That works. So hooking into metal works, but the kind of mesh that we're talking about here really is closer to fabric than metal, because you can shape it, and I'm going to stretch this one out too. You can shape it with your hands. You know, this is something to think about as well, because we see so much Prati in rug hooking. Now think about what Prati leaves look like. Often for me, the thing that I like the least about Prati is that the leaves are like, they do the flippity flopsies, right? And I'm just thinking, with something like this, interesting, right? You have to be very, very careful with your backing, and it could not be a super tight backing. Are the balls needle felted? God, it looks like it, doesn't it? I'll see if I can stretch further. But it basically looks like a Georgia O'Keeffe style, a contemporary Georgia O'Keeffe metal sculptural flower, right? It's this kind of intense close-up, and in this case, a very stylized center. Those are metal wires that are doing like stamens that are coming off of the center. Those are metal wires with beads, right? And it looks like embroidery. And it could be embroidery. It's not, but it could be. But you see how pliable that mesh, that metal mesh is. And you could, there's a few things, now I'm going to get started, and I can't get started because then I take these awful detours. But one of the things you can do with this metal mesh, right? And I've done this before and I love it. I'm not going to start the conversation about ways to color it. We could do that another time, or I could do a video. If anybody gets into using like metal meshes as part of rug hooking or embellishing, because you can change the color with liver of sulfur, right? Make them like rainbow colors. Anyway, one thing that you can do if you're working with metal mesh is, for example, let me get my pen. Just had an idea that might come in handy. You might be looking to solve this very problem, and here it comes. Let's say you did want to include some metal leaves, right, as Prati. Just as an example, let's say leaves. So Prati leaves usually look like something like this, because you cut them when they're folded, right? And and then you hook them, and you hook both sides up, and it comes like this out of the same hole, right? Right. This is under, that's gone. Both sides are on top. You could still do something like that, but if you are using metal fiber as opposed to, for example, wood or some other fiber, whether or not you're doing the attached one or not, or you just whatever, you can, let's say this is copper mesh, like the image that we're in the middle of looking at. You can get copper tape. They sell it for stained glass, and you can get it in different widths. You can get it like tiny, like an eighth of an inch, or you can get it a quarter inch. You could get it a whole inch. You could get large ones and cut it with your scissors, right? So you could wrap around the edge, right? Fold right around the edge like this, you know, half on top, half on bottom. Fold the edges with that copper tape. That copper tape is beautiful. It'll prevent metal mesh, right? Because it functions as fabric. As you can see, you can fold it and bend it. It's not as pliable, obviously, as wool, but it's just a different idea. It's a very different idea. You could do that to protect yourself from the sharpness of the edges. And metal mesh will unfray, right? Just like any other fiber will. So interesting, but you could do that to it. You know what else you could do? Let's pretend that this is the spool of the metal tape, right? And the metal tape looks like that. It's a skinny little piece like that, like tiny little piece of tape. What you could do, and this is what I used to do when I stained glass, say this is the regular piece of, maybe that's even the size you want, of copper tape, and you're going to do something with it like wrap a fiber. You okay, first, let's say you're using this because you're like, I need more metal in my rug hooking. Okay, hang on. So this is a regular piece. What you could do is get a large piece and cut it with those scissors that do stuff like this. You know, the plastic scissors that kids use? There are like every kind of pattern, and it cuts as you go. It does cut the copper tape because I did it. I did it almost always when I did my stained glass. It was one of my signature things to cut with those scissors. The thing is, if you choose something like this, right, it's not, if you're attaching it to the metal mesh, it might stick okay, maybe. If you're doing this tape effect on proddy leaves, right, that are wool, or you're applying it straight up to your rug hooked piece, you could sew a bead in places to keep it down. You could even sew with a needle and thread this copper tape like this onto your rug hooking project. You can sew right through it. So something to think about, because if the world opens up and you start thinking in your head, okay, this, like, I'm into it, coming into Halloween and the holidays, I need bling. Can I use things like metal mesh? You absolutely can. You're just going to have to solve the obvious problems, but they're all solvable. They are absolutely all solvable. So this piece, I'll stretch it a little bit more, is a great example of, this is, I mean, again, the only fiber we're talking about, this is a fiber exhibit. The only fiber we're talking about is the metal mesh. And the fact of it being mesh makes it a fiber. You see the edges, right? You see the edges, it looks like the edges are sewn or something, right? They're finished off. So all of this is possible with this metal mesh. And it looks like there's more than one color. On the edge, it looks like the copper or the metal color. On the inside, maybe a little bit darker. Hard to tell, but it does come in different colors. And it is extremely structured. So it has a fantastic memory. If you bend it and do something with it, unlike wool proddy leaves, it will stay there. Right? I have not done this technique, but those definitely look like they're little felted balls to me. It also does this rainbow effect. You see it the most in the center because it's mesh. You know, it's metal. Just like with fire screens and stuff, when you look at them from an angle, it does an optical illusion, which is kind of fun. Something to think about, right? Another trick for your bag of tricks. Always better to have more tricks. Now, this piece looks more like a traditional form that we would be more familiar with. Here it is. Okay, this piece, and I'll make this bigger too, is called Wild Iris by Deborah Davis of Longmont, Colorado. This was made in 2022. It is wool weft, cotton sen, like the river, Seine. I don't know that word in this context. Warp, hand dyed, something warp, hand dyed, cotton sen warp hand dyed. So in other words, the yarn part she dyed, and it is hand woven at 17 and a half by 15 by an inch and a half. And the text says, a summer hike in the Rockies took me past a grassy alpine meadow. Wild irises grew sparsely among the rocks. With a traditional tapestry technique, I explored the buds unfurling petals, veins, and the delicate edges of one of the wild irises. Finely woven blends of purple, lavenders, pinks, and greens are highlights of highlights of cream create depth in the iris petals, contrasted by the greens, the abstract vertical leaves. Okay, um, amazing. Remember, all of this is in the Fiber Arts magazine. Let's stretch this a little bit too. So this is a tapestry, and you just got the backstory. But this is, I don't know the product called Sen or Seine, but obviously it's some kind of yarn. It looks like a high twist yarn because it looks very, oops, sorry, it looks very ropey. But hopefully you can see it a little bit better there. Pronounced Seine. Okay, Sharon, thank you so much. Twine is the warp on this piece. Okay, twine, like kitchen twine. That kind of is all twine the same. Um, I'm wondering because I'm thinking about like the waxed stuff that you wrap like pastry boxes with, and then I'm thinking of the kitchen twine that's super nubby and scratchy. Seine twine is just a highly twisted cotton cord used for strong rug warp. Okay, awesome. Okay, this is great. I love learning this stuff. It's just an extraordinary piece. How do you all think, tapestry wise, this is something that would be made like on a loom, right? This would be made on a loom because this is a big piece at 15 and a half. I mean, it's not, it's not one of the unicorn tapestries, but it is a large piece. Um, Interesting. In other words, I wouldn't do it on my daughter's bracelet loom, right? It is absolutely beautiful. I love the texture. What I love seeing about pieces like this is I love seeing and knowing that in this case, was it Diane? Deborah. In this case, Deborah, she used materials that we're very familiar with too. Let me show you the picture Karen sent from the Fiber Arts magazine because the colors are a little bit different. See what I mean? Pretty crazy, huh? I just I love seeing things that the materials are apples to apples because I think, ooh, that's how you got that effect with that. I use that stuff too. How far can I go with that stuff? It is a lovely tapestry. It really is. It's something. It's a great another sort of Georgia O'Keeffe. You could put a sub collection together of stuff that is like in the spirit of Georgia O'Keeffe. This is right on the edge there. This is more like Alphonse Mucha to me. I love this one as well. Very three-dimensional. So this piece is called Sunlight Iris by Catherine Bowman Bauman of St. Charles, Missouri. And she says this was made in 2024. Cotton fabric, embroidery thread, satin, number 11 seed beads, so like little ones, single-use plastic, wool roving, we know that one, cotton cord, and she's done piecework, embroidery, applique, seed bead embellishment, and this piece is 11 and a half by 11 and a half by 2 and a half. And she said, my parents were farmers and avid gardeners. I grew up learning the names of every plant, watching them bloom, and reveling in the changes through the seasons. There are photos of me with my face 1 inch from a bloom, digesting every detail. Creating an iris bloom in the most minute detail has now become a reality in Sunlight Iris. The process from idea to finished piece was a labor of love over 10 months. It was quite an effort for a human to create an iris bloom that Mother Nature creates in multitude with grace each year. That's absolutely beautiful. This piece does have an incredible three-dimensional quality. April, it is absolutely gorgeous, a fantastic job, and it just makes you think. So this is done, I don't know, but I'm guessing this is knitted, possibly crocheted, but I'm guessing the flower itself is knitted, right? There's a three-dimensional quality to it as opposed to the background, which I'm also really fond of. I love the embroidered background, done with what looks like quilt materials, done in an applique style, stretched across, and it gives a great sort of theatrical backdrop to this stunning, enormous, very eye-catching iris. It is really beautifully done. All of the color changes, the stitches, right? It looks like it's made mostly of yarn. Um, at least it does to me, yarn and fabric. Maybe it's all fabric, I'm not sure. Could be all fabric. But there's lots of careful stitches on there to give it the veining. The piece we saw last, the tapestry piece, also had a lot of veining and done in completely different ways, different techniques, still fiber art, right? How interesting is that? The variety in this show, Karen, is like crazy. Here, I'm just scooting to the next one. Lots of different techniques. Here's another one that is a bit of, I think, an extreme close-up. Let's see what this one is called. I'm scrolling. Karen sent me such good information. It's like all here, which is incredibly helpful. This piece is called Summer Sequence by Geraldine Warner of Wenatchee, Washington, 2024. White silk fabric, acrylic paints, silk and cotton threads, cotton interfacing, batting and backing, and the techniques are painting, hand embroidery, and free motion quilting. This piece is 26 by 35, and Geraldine wrote, though my work is abstract, the colors, forms, and textures often allude to nature. I use silk fabric for my paintings because of the vibrant colors I can achieve and the incomparable tactile qualities. Wow. So this is another extraordinary piece. I just want to backtrack. Judy says, pretty sure the petals are wrapped around flexible plastic. Let me shoot back here. I don't know that one-time use plastic. Let me see what this is about. Glad to know that a product called one-time use plastic can have an artistic use, because then it becomes eternal. Let me see how we're doing with this. Okay, I see. Judy says, pretty sure the petals are wrapped around flexible plastic, like single use. Oh, okay, so it's not a product, it's just like a category of plastic, like a drink bottle or water bottle. Gives a dimension. No way. Okay. That's brilliant, Judy. That definitely makes sense. That must be where the three-dimensional quality is. How stupid am I? I don't know the expression single use. I do when it comes to like water bottles, but it didn't occur to me that of course that could be used, right? Artists are always thinking about ways to repurpose, to reuse, to save everything. Sorry, just putting something new on my thing. I forgot to show you this. The farmer's market yesterday. I walked down the steep hill into town. Only took 10 minutes. I was afraid I'd have problems on the way back, because it's like it got hot and everything. But I walked down, and there was a beautiful farmer's market down there every Sunday that I normally miss because I'm at church. But this time, I didn't go to church because of the convention that Joss wanted to go to. So I walked down there, and there was tons of fruits and vegetables, but also the local pottery place making the most extraordinary. They had a bunch of seconds out. Like everything was like $10. So I had to buy all kinds of little things, but I bought this funny mug that I think is so unusual. Everything is signed and made by people there and stamped. I just thought, oh, I just love the green color. I just love the energy. It has texture to it too. It's almost like one of those pie things went across it, I'm going to put my hooks in there. Anyway, stay with the program, Deanna. I think I'm going to need the ADHD meds too that my kids are on. It seems like I'm the worst one. Judy, that makes a lot of sense to me. And I like, now I'm going to use that expression too, because there are great ways for button bases and stuff like that to use plastics and to use caps. Remember in the not olden days, but remember years ago, people used to crochet soda pop bottle caps. You know what I mean? The soda bottle caps. They used to crochet over them and make like a bunch of grapes. You know what I'm talking about, right? I have a little collection of those bunches of grapes. I love those bunches of grapes. I love them. Whenever I see them, I buy them. I just love the way they look, and I love that there's a little bottle cap inside of each one. And that's one of my favorite things, is finding those crocheted bunches of grapes. So I guess this is the 2025 um, equivalent of bunches of grapes, right? The single-use water bottle. Let's stick with this. I want to enlarge this one as well. This one is absolutely extraordinary, the piece by Geraldine Warner. Let me just move it here. I'm going to show it to you close up as well. Hold on. Even more, even more. Now remember, this piece is, what is it, 26 by 35. So take a look at some of this stitching. You're getting an eyeful here. I mean, how gorgeous is this? Does seem like a flower. It also seems like it could be a canyon. With the presence of green, it does make me feel like it's a flower. It's just absolutely amazing, isn't it? And this is machine quilted. And let me show you, remember, she paints on silk, right? And then she does all of this hand embroidery and machine embroidery. And yeah, painting, embroidery, and quilting, machine quilting. So those are the three techniques. Let me show you this too, because there's excerpts of it in that Karen sent from that magazine, right? The close-up of the quilting, but then also of the painting. Interesting, isn't it? It's really interesting. This piece has got my brain working overtime as well, because a lot of these things are not immediately transferable to rug hooking design. But the one thing that this image brings up for me is, if you're going to sit down and create an original pattern, remember to not trip yourself up with feeling like you have to design something literal, right? These kinds of compositions, at least to me in my mind, are so beautiful and evocative and yeah, mysterious. So something to be said for Georgia O'Keeffe and for Agnes Pelton, who I like even more than Georgia O'Keeffe, and all of these, transcendental artists of the early and mid 20th century, mostly female artists doing this specific genre, who were, if you're looking for more inspiration, oh, it's getting late, who were doing these abstract versions of flowers and landscapes. And there's a lot of inspiration there. And if you are drawn to this kind of art, it is a fun thing to think about how to just loosen up a bit, right? And allow yourself to do some work that is abstract, where the colors, the techniques kind of take you away, right? You are kind of taking a back seat to the pattern as it evolves on its own. That's the beauty of an abstract, right? You're not filling stuff in. It's not a paint by number. It really requires you to be the passenger and the facilitator. And this is a great example of an abstract piece of art that really is stunning. It's stunning. Now, we have more of these to do, so hang on a second. I don't want to rush through them. We can do them next time. I could even come back. I think I could come back on Wednesday and conclude this. But in the meantime, I wanted to show you, Karen, you were working. Yeah, I wanted to show this because I meant to show this first, but I put it at the end of the photos. Karen, you were working, speaking of three-dimensional stuff, right? You were working on your pumpkins, and these are knitted pumpkins, and they are so lovely. Wait a minute, you told me something about the lace with this, didn't you? Let me see if I can find that. Something about the lace. Let me see. You sent this. I had you send it to. I like getting stuff on my Facebook chat because it's smaller, so it's easier to put into the show. Oh, I can't find it, Karen. If you're there, can you tell me what it was? I feel like there was something special about the lace that you used on the white pumpkin. It looks like crocheted fillet lace. Absolutely beautiful. They came out so pretty, using, at least for two of them, the cinnamon sticks, right, as the stumps. Such a lot of fun. Just beautiful project to work on for fall. Absolutely love it. I'm going to show you one more quick thing that is unrelated to the Botanical Gardens Fiber Show. I want to go back to that we'll go back to that on Wednesday. Let me just check my phone, make sure Wednesday is not going to be a hot calendar day for me. Nope. I'm going to put a show down for Wednesday, same time, so we can conclude this. I want to show you one more thing that I found this morning while I was having my coffee. I always check to see what's up with rugs and stuff on Facebook Marketplace. You know, one of my coffee things. This popped up on Facebook Marketplace. It's something that can ship. So I don't know that it's necessarily close to me, but you know, when I saw it, I was like, I took a quadruple take, and I thought, oh my God, okay, whew, this is an old rug, $50, right, and ships for another like 14. So I thought, oh my God, oh Karen, you said of the pumpkins. Wait a minute, let's do this right. Hold on one second. Get rid of that, and I want to come. Why did I do that? I just gave you a preview. Hold on, I want to come back here. Karen, you said the lace was made by your great grandmother. Well, that is exactly where it belongs with the fall pumpkins. Absolutely love it, Karen. It's so special. You did a beautiful cable too. Like, you're really a good knitter, really good. Love them. So festive. So I stumbled into this and I thought, oh, Jiminy Cricket, this is like an early silk Prati rug. And I thought, oh man, I almost just bought it just because I'm crazy. Um, you know, it looked really pixelated, and I thought, wait a minute, there's something about this rug that just, even in my fevered state of excitement, there's something about this rug that's wrong. See if you can spot it, right? So I'm looking at it and going, okay, this has to be like a Prati rug, right? So essentially a genre of a hooked rug. It's just prodded, right? But going through the backing fabric. So I'm looking at it. I open up the pictures and I am going, is it really low quality pictures? Because it looks really pixelated. And then I'm seeing the way they put it down on this blue bed, which is not ideal in so many ways. And it has a braided border too, which is quite nice because it made me think the rug itself appears to be in pretty good shape. So I thought, okay, so the photo is not pixelated because the wrinkles on the sheet and the background are not pixelated. So yes, April, you got it. You got it. That is the problem. My brain saw it, and I had to. You're not seeing it in this photo. That's exactly what I'm getting at. So I'm going, okay, good. It's a hooked rug. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna pull the trigger. Let's do it. Let's get it. Let's have it shipped. And April, great job. There's an enormous piece of ticking, which is that striped cotton, typically like bed mattress material, showing. And the fact that it's on ticking means it absolutely cannot be a hooked rug or a Prati rug. It is a sewn rug. And somebody cut up on, talk about rag bag madness, right? Back in the day, this is definitely a 19th century rug, I would say. Maybe very early 20th, but I would say 19th century. Somebody kept everything, every little scrap. And they cut their scraps into smaller scraps, and they had to have sewn on the scraps because this can't be prodded onto ticking. And sure enough, the back is ticking. But I thought, interesting. It is there on Facebook Marketplace. If you look under hand, I don't think it has the word hooked in it. It has handmade in it. So if you're interested in looking at that rug on Facebook Marketplace, type in handmade rug. Sooner or later, it should come up. Let me tell you what region it is, just in case you have trouble finding it and you need to move your, you move your circle, your radius that shows where you are. If you move your radius to different parts of the country, you can find other hooked rugs and things that you might be hunting for. And many times the person is willing to ship. And when that's the case, okay, this rug is located in, it doesn't even say because it's shipping only. So that keeps it easy. Yeah, it's Alicia Blakewell. It's only shipped. So it doesn't even show where she's from. And the shipping is, it's $50 and the shipping is $10.83. So you will find it on Facebook Marketplace if you look for it. It is a great looking thing. It's not a hooked rug, but it's a sewn rug. And what a beautiful piece it is. It's there for you. But it is fun to change your radius if you are a Facebook Marketplace addict. See what other people are selling, right? If you change your radius to different parts of the country, right? If you've got a lot of time on your hands, it is fun to do. You do pick up different things, and often you click on and it says ships for $10, and you think, good thing I saw that. I'm totally in love with it. $10, I'm having it shipped. It doesn't matter if it's not local, right? Because they're willing to ship it. So think about that as another place where you can look and find some treasures. I'm going to log off, but I will see you on Wednesday, and we will continue looking at these beautiful fiber pieces that are, Karen, is the show still up? Karen went recently, I think this past week, to see this fiber art show at the Denver, Colorado, Denver Botanical Gardens. Also featured in Fiber Art Magazine. I'm going to show you that picture one more time just to do my due diligence here. And so if you can't make it to the show and you're thinking, I need to see these things closer up and I want to sort of document, oh, wait a minute, not there. I want to document this stuff, take a closer look for longer. You can search for this magazine online, and here's the cover. Fiber Art Now. Right? That's the issue. So I'll come back to you on Wednesday at 11 a.m. and we will finish looking at the slideshow. Thank you, Karen. In the meantime, you can reach me at ribboncandyhooking@gmail.com and be looking in. Look at, if you have trouble finding Midnight Dreary, look at Friday's cocktail night in the, God, my phone just never stops, in the description to the video, and you will see the link to it, right? So if you're struggling to find it and you want to download, you can download any size you want. Huge, you could do it mini punch, do whatever you want. But it'd be fun to see you working on it when October 24th comes. I will see you Wednesday.